We're just 1 week away from setting sail aboard the Island Princess, and today I want to talk all about the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal. Let's go. Hi, AJ here with Byte Size Cruises. For me, the most stressful day of a cruise is Embarkation Day. If you've been watching our channels for a while, you know embarkation days for me are always hectic. I've left my bag on a train. I've gone to the wrong terminal. I have done just about every mistake you can make when trying to get aboard a cruise ship. Lost my passport. Oh, it's been a wild journey for me when it comes to embarkation days. So this time, I've been to the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal now a few times, twice in the past year. This will be my third time within a 12-month period. And here are some things that I've learned that make it a little bit easier for arrival and embarkation at that terminal. So first, let's talk preparing for going up. To start off, if you are thinking of driving into the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal, there's a couple tips for you there. That's not how Sarah and I are getting here this time, but these are helpful for if in the future you are thinking of doing this. One, pre-book your parking. So there is not a ton of parking at the terminal, and you are also going to be competing with people getting off the ship if you get there too early. If you pre-reserve your parking spot, you at least know that that's ready to go and that you're not going to get there and find that the parking lot is full and that you need to find somewhere else to park. The second tip, and this is just a tip for travel in general, is to avoid rush hour. So more and more cruise ships are staggering out when you can get on board. Rooms are opening later and later. There is no reason for you to be at the cruise terminal at 9 a.m. If you're getting on the cruise, you want to make sure that you leave yourself plenty of time to get there in case of traffic, but you should really be aiming that you're getting there between like 11 and 1 is kind of the sweet spot for getting in and making sure that you can get settled. As we've become more experienced cruisers, we actually are, when we are staying overnight places and getting ready to go to the cruise the next day, we're actually are opting to get on the cruise ships a little bit later because it's an easier walk-on process and we don't have as long to wander around with our bags, like looking for a place to sit down. Since we do carry on, it makes it easier if we can go right to our rooms. So that's just something to keep in mind. Make sure that you are dodging that traffic. If you're taking public transit, like Sarah and I are, you have a couple options when you get to the either New York Penn Station or Moynihan. Um, so from there, you can continue your public transit journey. You can take the subway and there is a stop nearby, or you can take one of the buses. I will put up a transit map here for you. So that is an option. Now, what we do, because you are going to Brooklyn and Moynihan is in Manhattan. So if you are heading over that way, sometimes it is easier to use a rideshare like Lyft or Uber, which is what we'll be doing. My tip for that, both for getting on and off the ship, is if you're able to walk a little bit further, to not put your drop off and pickup point in the terminal. Instead, there's a great little bar up the street a little bit. It's about 2 blocks away, where if you get dropped off and picked up there, it cuts down on the cost of the ride because you're not sitting in the traffic of the cruise terminal. And it allows you to actually get there faster because you can walk faster than the cars are moving at that point. And so that is my big tip for that. If you are staying in Manhattan, if you're coming in a little bit early, staying on Long Island the night before, you also want to be cognizant of how you want to get there. Um, Really, the public transit is the ideal, but it's not the easiest place to get to from there. So just make sure that you have that kind of planned out ahead of time. And if you can pre-reserve a Lyft or an Uber because you're, there overnight and you know what time you'll be leaving, it is a good idea to do that. Since we're coming in on the train, we'll be ordering one when we get there or taking a taxi. The nice thing about New York is that no matter where you are going between, there are taxis and Lyfts available and Ubers. So you can always make sure that you get away somewhere. You just have to make sure you leave yourself enough time. Be aware of events happening the day you're going because almost every weekend there's something happening somewhere in New York that's going to change the traffic patterns up. So, we've been there during Comic-Con unknowingly and had to go to the Manhattan cruise port and wondering why all of the hotels are $500 or more. And it's because there's a big event happening. And so we've been there when there have been runs happening, all kinds of things that shut down lanes. So it's just good to look ahead of time at the schedule for the city and see if there's anything big happening that day and adjust your plans accordingly. Sometimes we found that it makes more sense because of whatever event is happening to go up the night before and stay and pay the cost of a hotel. And sometimes because of whatever event's happening, like Comic Con, the hotels get so expensive that it makes more sense to come up the night before. And by the time we're coming up, everybody's already at the venue and off the streets. So it's just really good to take a look at what is happening in the city to plan around it. If you are very crowded verse getting on one of these cruises, I would go back to that recommendation of going closer to noon or 1 o'clock to the cruise port because then you are going to cut down. You're not going to have people getting off the ship anymore. And most people are already going to be on the ship and even in their rooms. So when you get on board, it's less crowded. So that's kind of my crowded verse hack for you. Um, Whether that balances with your anxiety about missing the ship or not, which, for me, I had to learn that balance. That is, I can't make that decision for you, but it is really nice to get there kind of 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, walk right up. You have no wait, almost no wait for security typically, and you just walk on board. And a lot of times the rooms are even ready, which makes it beautiful. I would just like to take a moment here to stop and ask that you please like this video and think about subscribing to my channel if you're not already. If you subscribe, you'll be able to follow along on this adventure and other upcoming ones as I cruise as a neurodivergent person. A lot of times I cruise solo, so it's great if you are traveling alone or if you have anxiety about traveling to get some insight and things that you can do to make it easier. If you like this video, it does help other people also find it, and subscribing keeps you up to date. And it would really help us out, and I would appreciate it a lot. So please hit the subscribe button. Thanks. So let's say that you are staying overnight the night before. Where is a good place to stay? Anywhere in New York is going to be a little expensive. Nearby the cruise port is a particular favorite of ours, the Red Hook Lodge. That is a great hotel. It is one of the closest hotels to the cruise port, and it is sometimes the night before cruises more expensive. They do kind of pay attention and they get very full during that because they are the only place to stay. There are some other hotels still in Brooklyn, about 2 or 3 blocks out. You have a Marriott, a Wyndham, a Hilton, a La Quinta, all of those typical ones, and any of those would be fine. But we do love the Red Hook. We recommend it if you could get in there and it's in your price range. It is a really nice stay, very it's been modernized recently, and it's close by to a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about to do in the city while you are waiting the night before your cruise. So one of the big things is, are there places to eat? There's a ton of places to eat in Red Hook, which is the neighborhood that the cruise terminal is in. Um, I have personally eaten at the Lobster Pound and the Good Fork. Both had delicious food. I'm contemplating doing the Lobster Pound if we can get up there in time to kick off our lobster roll adventure. Because I think that that would be really fun. So we are working on that to see if we can get that in there. Um, and then also there is Hometown Barbecue, which has fantastic reviews on Google. I have not personally eaten there, but it looks delicious and it has over 4,000 reviews and is sitting at a 4.5 star, which the more reviews you get, the harder it is to stay 4.5 or above. So any place that has that many reviews and is still sitting that high, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be good because it means that the restaurant's not deleting reviews. That is a thing. If it's at 5 star, either they're sold to the devil or they're deleting reviews. So that's not happening because you are getting the haters and they're kind of pulling it down, and everyone's human. Even businesses have bad days. So that is a really good sign. So I would recommend it if you like barbecue. And if you do eat there or have eaten there, I would love to know your opinion on it. Let me know in the comments below if you have and what you thought of it. I'm really curious because barbecue up north is kind of tricky sometimes. So I would love your thoughts. And then there's also a lot to do around Brooklyn. We've stayed in Brooklyn the night before a few times, and we have had really fun times every time we have. One of our favorite places to go is Pioneer Works. It is an artist collective where artists can rent space in the building, and then there are exhibits that those different artists put on throughout. So it's half art gallery, half working studio. And there's like an outdoor space, and Pioneer Works is a donation encouraged place to enter. It is technically free, but they do ask that you have a small donation because that helps them pay their artists and residents and upkeep the building. And the garden is really beautiful. I do recommend stopping there. Some other kind of museum-y exhibits for you are the Look North Inuit Art Museum, which features First Nation artists that are Inuit, and kind of gives you a look into their history and culture. And then there's also the Waterfront Museum, which is all about the history of the waterfront and the ships that have been in and out of the area and things like that. So there's lots of educational opportunities right in Brooklyn so that you can kind of book your hotel and have a really fun night with the family. I will say that the Good Fork is probably not the most kid-friendly location, but both the Lobster Pound and Hometown Barbecue are family okay. Brooklyn itself is not some place that I would necessarily take the kiddos with unless they were traveling with me. But if they are traveling with you, those places are, kind of like bar and grill type places. There's a place to sit and eat. It's not just a bar. The Good Fork is kind of quieter and smaller and primarily seems a little bar oriented. Um, so yeah, those are my recommendations for staying the night before. Um, if you are staying in Manhattan or anywhere else in New York the night before, there are, of course, plenty of places and things to go and do and see. Honestly, if you are sailing out of New York and you are not from the area, it is a great opportunity to maybe spend the weekend or come down a couple of days early and do some of that. There's so much history in New York. There's art. There's obviously Broadway. I could go on for hours about what there is to do in New York City, but it is definitely worth taking the time if you haven't before and you're sailing out of there to do that. If you are from the Northeast and you're kind of an old hat at going to New York, then these are all places that maybe you haven't seen, but are a little bit off the beaten path of the typical touristy items, a little more art and history focused, and right there in the area. Now, I am still nervous, to be honest, about going to Brooklyn. I am the Papa Duck of the group this time. Normally, I'm following John's lead, and this time I am taking the lead with Sarah. So it will be interesting. So let's everyone cross your fingers that I end up in the right place at the right time with all the right stuff. Um, Track record isn't great, but my passport is right here. So I should be okay. So yeah, that's really everything. I'm very excited and I hope that you will all be coming with me on this adventure. Next week, my video will be a what I'm packing video. It's not going to be like actually watching me pack this time, but more talking about the differences in what I pack for a Caribbean versus a northern oriented cruise and some of the things that I'm taking with me, entertainment, work, and outfit wise. So I'm very excited for that and I hope you will join me. And then, of course, following that will be videos from Sarah and I. You can follow along for watching the shorts as we go, or if you want to check out my TikTok, they'll be there as well. We're very excited and I think it'll be a lot of fun. If there is anything that you would like to see from the Canada New England trip, please also let me know in the comments below and I am happy to kind of get some feedback and focus in on some areas. We're going to be doing port tours. We're going to be doing the lobster roll tour. We're going to be doing some reviews of the ship. And then obviously the ship tour will be over on the other channel. I am so excited. All right, guys. Thank you so much for sticking it out through this video. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.